Welcome back, fellow coders. Jared O'Leary here with BootUp. This video, I'm going to show you how to make the audience cheer for your award acceptance speech project. So I'm in my stage right now, and if we look under the sounds, there are two different cheer sounds. One is called cheer. One is called clapping. And I want to randomly select one of those two when the audience cheers. So I'm going to go create a new message, and I'm going to call it something like cheer. And when I receive this cheer, it's going to pick one of those sounds. And since there are two of them, I'm going to use a pick random to say, pick a random sound between number 1 and number 2. So when I click on this, it might do that one, or it might do the other sound that's on there. So it's going to pick one of those two randomly. We don't know what order it's going to do. It might do several in a row, like it did while I was trying to record this video for you. But don't worry, I edited that out, so you didn't have to look at it. Okay, so now that I'm randomly picking one of the sounds, I want to make it so that the sprites move up and down. So I want to make it so that they're jumping up and down and like, yay! So I'm going to go to my crab, and I'm going to say that when I receive cheer, I want my crab to switch between the standing costume and the cheering costume with the arms up. So when it starts cheering, we're going to have the crab put the arms up in the air, and then when done cheering, gonna just stand. Okay, so now in between these blocks, I want to add in the blocks that make it so that the sprite moves up and down. So I'm first going to move my sprite to as high as I want him to jump. And so I'm going to use a glide block here. And then I'm gonna move the sprite back down to where I want him to land and put that there. So notice how I moved the sprite before I dragged into the box. That way it automatically changed the numbers to the correct numbers that I want for the X and Y coordinates. Okay, so now when we do the cheer, it makes the sprite glide up and down for a very slow jump. Okay, that's neat and all, but most people don't cheer just one time like, yay. Usually they're cheering for a little bit more than that. So I'm gonna add in a repeat. And in my repeat, it's just gonna be these glides. And to make it so that all the sprites aren't doing the same thing at the same number of times, I'm going to use pick random. So this sprite is going to cheer between 5 and 10 times. And this sprite is going to take between 0.1 and 0.5 for gliding up, and 0.1 and 0.5 for gliding down. So now the crab will jump up and down a random number of times, and it will go faster and slower depending on what number it randomly selects in here. Okay, so my sprite is jumping straight up and down. If I want to make this even more interesting, I could also add in a turn and say to turn a random amount between, let's say, -10 and 10. So now when the sprite cheers, the sprite might be jumping up and down and doing stuff like this, but we want to make sure the sprite isn't sitting like this at the very end. So we just simply add in a, where's it at? There it is. Couldn't find it. Point in direction, 90. So at the very end, the sprite is boop, standing upright and not just laying on their neighbor or something like that. Okay, so this process, you'll repeat for each one of the sprites. You don't want to just copy this code over because it'll make them all jump in the same spot. Trust me, I've done that before on accident. But take this idea and apply it to each one of your sprites. And then to make the audience cheer, simply broadcast the message for cheer. All right, so I want to show you what this looks like in my project. So I've switched over to the project that I created, and when I broadcast this message, it's going to use cheer on all of the sprites, which will make them do this. So they're all jumping in their own locations. They're all jumping for a random number of times, and then they all stand or sit down at the very end. So use code like this in your own project and make an interesting audience cheer. Hey everyone, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you can find us on that platform as well as other social media outlets by searching for BootUp PD. And if you're looking for more free lessons, projects, and resources for teachers and students, visit us at bootuppd.org, where you can also learn about our high-quality professional development.